Welcome to Dark Horse Matters, the show about people, their passion, and their pursuit toward happiness. I'm your host, Bev Matayoshi, and my passion is finding these fired up people and having them share their stories in hopes to light a passionate fire within. I'm super stoked about today's guest. We met through the comments off of someone else's post in one of the most engaging and inspirational Facebook groups called the Asian Hustle Network. And it's crazy how common it's becoming, making friends virtually this way. And I can't even imagine what the future metaverse has in store for us socially and for business. So it's super exciting stuff. You may want to get a notebook and a pen, take some notes because I know this man is going to drop some value bombs on you today. And he is one of the best network marketers I've ever met. So with that being said, please give a warm welcome to James Zheng.
What's up, everybody? And I called my listeners, and you guys will be honorables to Warriors. So I always start, "What's up, Warriors? Glad to meet you. Glad to see you, Bev. It's an honor. I feel likewise to you as well too. I know to put on a podcast of this caliber for the consistency of the amount of time that you've had, it takes a lot of leadership, vision, energy, passion. You can't do this if you weren't passionate about it. So it's an honor to be on the stage.
Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you. And I've been following you a lot for quite some time now on social media, and I just learned so much from you. Like every day, just seeing you out there, just dropping value every single day to people. So I really thank you for that, James.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And isn't that crazy? That's how the metaverse works now, right? You could just learn so much from just gleaning from everybody. So
I
likewise to you
know.
too.
Yeah. So before we get into, everything, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself? Like where are you from and where did you grow up? Give us a little bit about your family.
The best way to describe myself, Bev, is if you looked up, I don't know if people still use Urban Dictionary. Do you remember Urban Dictionary and everything, right? If you looked up Asian or Chinese, and you would pick up a nerd with glasses that was just taking all the AP classes and was supposed to be a doctor, right? So that was me. And I played piano and I played violin. Like literally, I grew up the stereotypical Asian kid. Was born in China, but raised in America. I was a chubby kid, and maybe that's why I wanted to find confidence in something I could control, which was the grades. So I went to UC Berkeley. I was not surprisingly studying biology, and I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And what got me to realize and kind of expand outwards is, and I think there's a lot of people like this these days, is success in life, it isn't found in school usually. Education formally doesn't lead to a life. And even though I looked good on paper, I felt really empty on the inside. I was shy, I was unconfident, like I wanted to learn something about life. So I was looking for different skill sets, looking for different experiences, just wanted to be completely different from who I was, Bev. And that's what actually led me to my entrepreneurial journey accidentally, actually.
That's cool. Where exactly did you grow up? Or what
I
did you
grew up
say?
in San
San
Diego,
Diego.
California.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much a Cali kid.
I should have guessed from your accent.
Yeah.
So do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have one younger brother. He's probably like 20 months younger or something. We have a really small family. I have one aunt, one uncle, two cousins over here. The rest they're like in one city in China, and we're kind of connected, but not really. So it's just our small family over here.
That's cool. So your parents are still there in San Diego
They're
as
still
well?
there. Everyone's
Okay.
still then in San Diego, actually. So it was one of my dreams. Now I'm in Northern California specifically. But our goal is to move down to San Diego at some point. So once we have kids, no kids yet, but it's a nice place. It's a
Yes,
nice
I
place.
I remember I lived in Los Angeles for half my life, and
Mm.
I just remember the Southern California summers. I
Yeah.
just love the
Yeah.
summers in Southern Cal. We would go like dawn patrolling at beach hopping from LA down to San Diego and just spend a whole weekend doing that. It was so much fun. I
That's,
remember those days.
I need to do that. I know.
Yeah. So, James, from the moment I first met you, like I immediately liked you. I just knew, I just felt like you were so approachable and easy to talk to. And I just kind of wanted to share the audience, like our first interaction with each other.
Yeah.
I just thought you just stood out to me, very unique, because after, like commenting on that person's post through the Facebook group, I got a message from you on Messenger. But, I've gotten messages from random people before, but you stood out to me because your message was different. You sent me a video introduction message just saying, "Hi, I'm James," but it was a video. And I just thought, this guy is different. Like, nobody sent me a video before. So I just remember, like, I'm going to respond in a video too and see what happens. So that's how we met. And I just felt immediately connected with you that way because it was a
Yeah.
different way of introducing each other through a digital, space. It was just, that was something new for me.
And like energy attracts like energy because while I might do that, and especially if you're building a business online, find different ways to make yourself special, find ways to connect faster. And video is a great way. Voice memos are awesome. And it's more convenient as well, too. But what I was equally surprised by, Bev, is I shot a video memo. But what I was more surprised by was that you shot one back. Like that means that we're on the same wavelength, right?
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with it as well, too. Just crazy how that works.
Yeah, yeah. But I just remember, like, ever since that day when we connected, we've kind of been friends ever since, like we've been
Totally.
following each other and, connecting with each other. And I just love that. I just love meeting people that way now. And I love that you can do that now virtually with each other, with
Yeah.
all the social media and this space. And if you're not taking advantage of that out there, like, I don't, you're missing out, seriously.
Man, it's just night and day. We're I'm in network marketing. We'll get further into it, of course, but literally as we're talking right now, I just got off of this epic training, learning from people that made seven figures a month in network marketing. And the biggest commonality that they're all talking about, and this applies for every business out there these days, is that if you're not on social media, you're just going to be left behind. It's just there's no way about it. We have to adapt.
Yeah. And I keep hearing about this metaverse, forming,
Yeah.
and I don't even know what that is yet, but I'm sure my
That's
kids
cool.
will learn about it and teach me because they learn so
Yeah.
much faster than me. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I wanted to ask you, as a kid growing up, like when you were little, what did you dream about? Like, did you have any dreams about what you were going to be when you grew up? Like, what did you see yourself doing?
It's an interesting question because I think many times when we answer that in our lives, whether it's a kid, but actually the it makes sense when we're a kid that we'll answer answers that were given to us. Society expectations, parent expectations, right? Cultural expectations. So doctor, that was like the thing to do. So I thought it was going to be an MD, MBA, MPA, just get all the letters of the alphabet type of thing. But on that note, what's crazy is that the what's your dream question is it's one thing if you're trying to adopt someone else's dream when you're a kid. But I think the big, big debilitator for many of us in life is that we carry that same dream that we think is ours, but it really isn't ours into our adult years. Like it just gets crazy. Have you watched the movie Inception before?
No,
Inception.
I
Oh, you gotta watch it.
I keep
It's
hearing about this movie, and
You'll love it.
yes, I'll
You'll
put
love
it on
it.
my to watch list.
Yes, yes. It's by Christopher Nolan. He made The Dark Knight, right? The Batman movie, like these types of things. But the concept, and I won't ruin it, but basically it's about planting dreams into others people's minds where they believe that they came up with it themselves.
Oh,
And so
interesting.
yeah, I was growing up, I had no idea why I wanted to be a doctor, but I just believed that it should be. And that changed later, of course. But that was my original dream.
Okay. Did you ever have like one in the back that you thought about, but you didn't, it didn't, have you ever thought about that? Like,
Let me think. One that I thought about. What else did I want? That's a good question.
because when you're a kid, like you have imagination, like there's always
Yeah.
like different, I don't know, like for me, like when I was a kid, I wanted
Yeah.
to be Gem in the Holograms, like I wanted to be a pop star. Like, but I
Yeah.
wanted to be like, I even came up with my own band name. It was
Yeah.
Pizzazz after the
Dang, you
lead
were
singer
ready.
of the Misfits.
Yeah, that is so cool. I think one thing that would have been cool is like what came to mind was like breakdancing, like popping and stuff like that. I was so bad at it, but it'd be nice to be like a world-class dancer like that.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, when you're a kid, like, you have all these like visions of doing stuff, but you
Yeah.
forget, like
Yeah.
as you get set on your path growing up, like you start, yeah, you forget about all these little dreams that you may have had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very interesting to hear. Breakdancing. I never would have thought that about you. Have to draw a
I
cartoon about that.
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm actually gonna do a little homework assignment and relive my childhood dreams. I need to do that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You gotta like post some of that if
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. Yep.
So you went to Berkeley,
UC Berkeley.
UC Berkeley, and you studied biology there.
Correct. Correct.
So like when was that moment that you decided that I don't know, want to be a doctor? Like what happened
Yeah.
in your life that
Yeah.
triggered that change?
Yeah. So 19, I was still studying biology. I was a sophomore in college, looking for work, looking for experiences, stumbled into network marketing, which happened to be in health and wellness too, which was great. And started as a hobby. But by the time that I was about to graduate and I had to make those decisions, right? The what do you do with the rest of your life decision, the time that I made a decision actually on not being a doctor, and I already had these entrepreneurial ideas now, and I started to realize, oh, I can think for myself. Oh, I don't have to be what my parents or society or culture says I could be, right? What do I want to be? How do I want to live? And the craziest thing, I don't know, do you remember there was these companies like Princeton Review or Kaplan, like these college prep course classes and stuff like
Yes.
that? So I was in a fraternity in college. I was the academic chair, and I ran a seminar done by Princeton Review, and the topic was how to interview for medical school admissions board type of thing.
Hmm.
So basically, I just set it up. I wasn't expecting to learn anything, Bev. And what ended up happening, I was sitting there. And the proctor said something super simple, but for me, it was super profound. And I think for anybody with a dream, this is a good way to check it. And he said this. He said, the number one question I'm going to ask on the exam is going to be, or the interview is going to be, why do you want to be a doctor? Right? So it's like, duh, well, give your answer. And he said this. He said, the way to answer that is not why do you want to be a doctor or why do you want to be XYZ? Why do you need to be? Not want, but need. And that simple change of language floored me because I started to think to myself, I'm like, I don't have a need. Like it's not my dream passion. It's not my call. I wanted the white coat for prestige. I think it makes money. I think it looks like high class or something, right? But besides that, it got me to start to think. And I realized that day I can achieve the things that I say that I want, not being a doctor. And if I don't need to be a doctor, I shouldn't, because we need people that need to be doctors to be doctors, right? Like
Hmm.
I would not be a good doctor. And that day I realized that was not it. And then I started to think for myself even further as well too.
Wow. It's just crazy like what things are put in front of you that make you think that can really
Yeah.
change your life forever. Like I
Yeah.
I love hearing these triggering stories from people of,
Yeah.
that single thing that happened that really made a huge pivotal moment in your life.
Yeah.
So from then on, like how did you get introduced into the business? Or were
Yeah.
you
So I was
already?
19. I was already in at that time for maybe a year or two. It was my side hustle while I was going through school. I got introduced, I was 19. I literally had no work experience. I was just looking for something. And the older brother, one of my frat bros, he introduced me to my first network marketing venture. And I thought it was a total scam, total pyramid. I told my friends not to join it. But my friend was good at follow up. And what ended up happening is he introduced me to someone that became my first mentor. And in my mind, I said, you know what? All I needed to see was that there was proof. All I needed to see that there was someone that had what I wanted and could show me how to do it, because I didn't know that you could find mentors. And that's a really big part of how I go through life, grow through life, and teach others as well to find mentors. But I found someone that was just like me, shy, became confident, unsuccessful, became successful. He was making six figures by the time that he was going to graduate from college, and he dropped out his last quarter. I said, I don't exactly understand the business, but I like this guy. And if I can get 10% as good as him, then life will be good. And that's how I made my decision to start the journey.
Wow, that's cool. So tell me a little bit more about
Yeah.
mentorship. Like how, I mean, how did you engulf into that? Did you just have that one mentor or did you start finding mentors for all kinds of things?
I think at the beginning, I didn't know you could find and seek mentors. Like it didn't cross my mind, right? Like they don't teach these things in school or anything. You're kind of just, you take the hand that you're given. So for me, I just thought this is the best I've seen. This is what I want. And I guess I'm just going to learn and do exactly what they do. And I have a couple of key points when it comes to looking, because you can search for mentors. And I think it's the biggest cheat code in life. I'm a gamer, so I love hacks and that type of stuff. And I'm also lazy, Bev. So I'd rather take the shortcut that's legit, you know? Um, but there's three, if you're looking for a mentor, and I wish I knew these things, but everything happens in the right place in the right time. Number one, you have to know what you want, of course. If you don't know what you're searching for, a mentor doesn't matter.
Hmm.
But mentors are extremely important because they increase your odds of success by 500%. So the way I look at it is if you could learn something in 5 years, it'll take 1 year. And I'm just like, I'd rather do that, you know? So yeah, for this mentor, he just fell into my lap and he taught me everything about business and life and everything. I just did exactly what he said. When I'm with a mentor, I just copy everything. So by the time that I was with him, I talk like him, I dress like him. Like I could fill in his words before he would finish his sentence type of thing and learned a ton.
Wow. That's, that's very important for people to know if they want to succeed because you cannot figure everything out on your own. I always
Yeah.
hear that. Like, I just want to do it myself. I don't want to, you know, but you can't, like you said, it just happens a lot faster if you find someone who's already succeeded in that area.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's so important to have someone to show you the ropes. And if you're lucky enough to have that person hold your hand along the way, I mean, that is just huge, very huge. And today, I mean, it's so easy. They don't even have to hold your hand. You have YouTube.
True. True.
So many people dropping free nuggets out there and it's free. It's so
Crazy.
incredible.
It's crazy. And now it's the opposite effect. Before it was so hard because we came from the age to buy this type of material. My first personal development, a real serious personal development audio was Jim Rohn's Challenge to Succeed. Have you ever heard of that one before, Bev, or
Mm-mm. I
listened
heard of
to it?
Jim Rohn's, but I haven't listened
Yeah.
to that.
So it was, I remember I was probably 19, 20. And my mentor said, man, the people that are really successful in business and life, they listen to this 6 CD set thing, right? CDs back in the day.
Hmm.
And I remember it costing $50, Dev. And I'm a broke college student. I barely am making any money. $50, like that was an extraordinary amount of money for me. I'm like, who would spend $50 on CDs? You know? But I eventually, I was coachable. So I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. I got the $50. I bought the CD. And man, I wore through those and listened to them thousands of times type of thing. And the funny part is this is you can literally look online now and find it for free. However, I think the flip side is this. And in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about how free education is actually not good. And it's because those that pay attention.
Hmm.
And we're so overloaded with so much stuff right now. And I see this now because I train a ton of people, even with myself. You can get so lost in the sea of development or mentors that you never actually end up doing anything, or you start something here and then you start something there and then you start something there. We never really master something. So while it's free, we have to be very careful on how we take in that information and seek knowledge, not for just learning, but seek knowledge for implementation and transformation like that. So if you have a goal and you keep to that goal and you keep on going, then it's very powerful. It should be easier. but don't get lost as well too in that sea of stuff out there.
Yes, yes. That's very eye-opening to hear just because I mean it's overload. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yep.
like overstimulating sometimes. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
like feels good to just disconnect and just not think. But you
Yeah.
don't want to stay in that space for too long.
Totally.
What about your wife? Like how did you meet her? When did you guys meet?
Funny story. She was my second recruit ever in my business. So we didn't have a romantic relationship prior. We were partners for 4 years. But she was, yeah, I was learning the ropes in my business. I ran in network marketing. Usually we're taught talk to your friends and family, kind of like opening up a restaurant. You probably talk to your friends and family first. So I did that, messed it up. I didn't have a lot of charisma or confidence. So they all mainly said no to me. So I learned how to prospect and I learned how to connect and I learned how to invite and I learned how to edify an expert to give the information. So I did that. And Becky happened to be my second recruit ever. She was a classmate. We're kind of acquaintances. And women tend to crush it more in business and in network marketing than guys do. I think 77% of network marketing is female dominated right now.
Really?
And yeah, no, 4 or 5 basically. Depends on
Wow.
the industry. Financial industry tends to attract more guys, I think, but as a whole, yeah. Yeah, Becky came in, she crushed it. She became my top leader. And around 4 years later, both of us were out of other relationships and eventually said, hey, we should start dating. So it worked out.
I think it's so powerful when a couple can come together and have the same goals in business. Like I
Yeah.
always hear stories, like there's a lot of people who they just find the idea of working with their spouse like horrendous. Like I don't want to be working with you all day and then come home and you know what I mean? And we're together again, like we're
Yeah.
talking about work at home too.
Yeah.
But I think it's so powerful when a couple has the same goals and you can work together. Like I always like think like, man, they should make a dating app for my company. I can find a, I can find a spouse,
That'd be a good
like
idea.
I know. That would be so powerful to find a partner in business, that
Yeah.
way. Because I
Yeah.
mean, when you have someone to be your teammate, you can really focus on your strengths and see how it works. You can work together synergistically. I mean, that is just so cool. And you
Yeah.
guys have that. Like the two of you together, you guys are a spark. Uh, it's very, very contagious, the energy you guys bring. And I love you guys. You guys are awesome.
It's so important, and whether it's a life partner or business partner, partnerships and collaboration is so key. When Becky came into my life as a business partner and when we started dating, our business tripled.
Wow.
So she's organized. I'm not. So she's got that down.
Yeah.
It's such a blessing. Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit more. The
Yeah.
strengths, like what strengths do you bring and what strengths does Becky bring and how do you guys mesh together?
In the beginning, when you have two leaders, you butt heads a lot. Two strong personalities. You both, because Becky, it was interesting because Becky, in our space, I think it's kind of uncommon. She was her own field leader. She did presentations, trainings, ran her team, she did everything I did, right, in the business. And then all of a sudden you come together and you're both doing the same thing already. And it's almost like fighting. One of our top, one of our top arguments was that we would literally message the same person on our team about the same thing. And she's like, no, why are you talking to them? I'm talking to them. It's like, so we had to figure these things out. But ultimately, I think in any leadership scenario, including a marriage, business partnership, that is leveraging your strengths and then, of course, delegating your weaknesses. I am really good speaking. I am really good learning. I'm really good with teaching. I love studying. I'm the nerd. I'm very big picture focused. I love talking to people. I love listening. She is so good at everything else that I'm not good at. She is organized. She is meticulous. She loves spreadsheets. I hate spreadsheets. She's blunt. I'm very kind of beat around the bush. She is detail oriented and knows the numbers while my head's in the sky, hers is on the Excel spreadsheet. So but we have commonalities, which is our goals and mutual respect and love. So we both realized, okay, you do this, I do this. We can both do each other's things, but do as much as you can in your strength zone as much as possible. And that ended up being way better.
Yeah, that's so cool. You're very lucky that you have that with
Oh,
her.
oh
I
yeah.
need to find myself a Becky because I think I'm more like
Yeah.
you.
So,
Spreadsheets, no.
I know. Gosh. Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah, definitely. That's so cool. I love that you guys are in business together. It's very exciting to watch you guys on social media doing what you do
Thanks.
guys do. So, I know at one point I remember seeing you post about, an time in a period in your guys' career and your lives where you
Yeah.
guys almost lost everything.
Oh
I
yeah.
am gonna ask you to be a little vulnerable right now. Can you share with us like what happened and what you guys went through?
The best thing that happened in my life. The best thing that happened in my life. I think everybody needs a breakdown, a massive one, and that's where you learn the most. And it's so funny because this is the maybe it was a self-fulfilled prophecy, but as we were growing our business, we were always pretty slow and steady. We grew 20-30% a year. It was good. Everything was good. Like, we had our storms, but it wasn't like groundbreaking, right? But you hear all these rags to riches stories.
Hmm.
And I always thought to myself, well, we don't have a rags story, you know? So it's like, all right. And, that happened 2017. We had a couple of changes happen in the business, which led to a lot of confusion. Long story short, we lost 50% of our business in 1 year. In our business, we build and work with leaders. We had five of our top leaders, basically all of our top leaders left. And, that was a lot of initial feelings of guilt, shame, betrayal, like abandonment, these types of things. And at the bottom of the bottom, and our bills are very, very stretched. We lived a luxurious lifestyle. We were stretching it, we were pushing it. By the time that we realized where we were at, we were $100,000 in consumer debt, Bev. And it was this hole where it was like, I don't think we can get out, like it just doesn't feel like we can climb out. And I remember the turning point came. We were at this company event and it was like a leadership conference. So the top leaders, they come together, they have these meetings and stuff. And we felt like absolute hypocrites there. Everyone around us, they're seven-figure earners, legends, like known. And we just made it into this. We're the newbies, but no one knew what happened in our business. Like we felt so shameful being there. We're like, we don't belong here. And outside during the break, me, Becky, we sat down with two of the founders of the company and we were just sharing what was going on. And I don't cry many times, but when I do, it's intense. And I just saw man tears just in front of them. I just broke down. And that night I told Becky, I'm like, I give up. I just don't think, and I'm very optimistic, but I never say those words, but I actually gave up. And at that point, like God was speaking through Becky for sure. And she had just had so much grace and she had just so much peace. And she said, babe, it's okay. Like we're gonna figure things out. We're gonna figure things out. And that took a year or two, it took time. We climbed out of that, fortunately, debt free, saving, investing, things like that, but and learned a lot throughout that way as well, too. But yeah, that there's definitely storms in the battle. For anything great, there's always the testing before the blessing. And that was definitely a huge test. I went through a year of depression, Bev, barely being able to pick up my foot, one in front of the other, trying to maintain a good mindset while still working with the team and stuff like that. But it was so much that we learned, so much.
Yeah, that's hard. Like when you're down in the rut, like depression, it's almost like that evil, cloak that comes over you,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's so hard to like push that out especially if you choose to sit in it for so
Oh, yeah.
long. I
Yep.
mean, that's how when people start drinking, people start,
Yep.
and I just, the fact that you guys got out, and Becky, that she was that person that you could hold on to
Yeah.
not sink deeper. That's a blessing that you had her
Yeah.
to be your anchor, so you don't sink.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what how what was the pivotal moment like while you're getting out of that situation? Like,
Yeah.
what changed? Like, how did you change? Or what, you know, how did that change manifest in you to really get the momentum going?
Gratitude. Gratitude was the biggest thing, because prior to that, it was this feeling of like, oh my gosh, like many different, like one feeling is shame. What are people going to think of me? Man, I used to be this and now I lost it, like that type of feeling. Or guilt. If I knew better, if I was wiser, if only I like, why did I not see that coming? Or self-deprecation, or any of these types of things, frustration, right? Um, but when I realized that no, like the way out of anything is absolute gratitude for what we are, where we are. Everything can always be worse, always. Another thing I've learned is they say that saying is, once you hit rock bottom, that's all you can go, or
Mm-hmm.
that's when you can only go up. I think that's a complete lie. Complete lie. Because if anyone's ever hit rock bottom before, you can drill through that and go through the core of the earth and out the other side. Like, it does not stop until the mind changes just like that. And the
Mm-hmm.
only way to change it is gratitude. So looking at, not grateful for the situation, but grateful for everything around me, grateful for what I was learning from it, grateful that, hey, everything's given freely to us. It's not ours to own or anything. We're just here as stewards of it. So what am I complaining about? And there's a plan, there's a purpose for everything. God's going to guide the way. And I just realized, all right, no, like I'm complaining about the wrong thing. I'm being a little baby right here. I'm just grateful I'm here. And when that started to change, and it was not tied to a monetary thing, a number, a status, an accolade. It was just grateful for being and grateful for what we already had. And once that started to happen, like, the numbers take time to change, but the mindset and the feeling are always there. And even now, Bev, I think, and that's why I just love that I was so humbled right there. I feel that's why I love coming on to this, because when you feel that and you realize that, you just realize what you have is just a free gift, and your goal in life is just to give that away to others as well too. So I don't care the numbers necessarily. I just want to share it with as many people as possible as well.
Yeah. It's crazy. Gratitude, it's a choice that you have complete control over.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so hard for people to see that, or to realize it, especially when you're down in the dumps.
Hmm.
It's so easy to feel all the bad stuff and complain about it and share that with others, blame
Yep.
others, right?
Yep.
But gratitude really is, it's a choice, and it's something you have complete control over,
It is.
whether, no matter what your situation. And it's
Yeah.
instant. That feeling inside is instant. Once you focus on gratitude, like, everything just changes after that. Like, you change.
The words that came to my mind, this, I don't know if someone said it, but I started saying it, is gratitude is God's frequency.
uh,
Gratitude is God's frequency. And if you want to just like always be on that wavelength, that's when the miracles happen in our lives. Everything's fine. In the grand scheme of life, like what's $100,000 of debt to God? It's like there's nothing, right? So
mhm.
I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. $100,000 in debt, though. I remember having that kind of student loan debt. I went to
Mm.
University of Southern California.
Oh man. Nice.
That's a very heavy burden to
Oh,
bear.
yeah.
And
That's how you got red curtains. Makes sense.
it's a very heavy burden to bear. So I'm so happy for you. Congratulations for getting
Thank
out
you.
of that. And you guys really deserve all your success. You guys are just so amazing. And you guys bring value to others in a way where you guys bring community. That's how I feel, like,
Mm,
in your guys'
mm,
Facebook group and everything. I feel a community there. And that's not
mm.
easy to build. Like, you really have to be authentic in order
Yeah.
to have that. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about the Asian Hustle Network too. That
Oh yeah.
Facebook group, like, so inspiring. I can spend hours just scrolling through everyone's inspirational
Yep.
stories. I've wasted, not wasted, but
Right.
I've spent, like, oh gosh, I've been doing this for 2 hours. I have other things to do. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, I just, I admire you so much, for everything that you've been through. And thank you so much for sharing that story with us.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad if it can help you or anyone else, always happy to share.
Yeah. So, James, like with everything that you've been through and everything that you have built in your career and in your life, like for those people out there who don't, have a passion or don't are unaware of it, like what kind of advice can you give them? Because Pat, let's just talk about passion and
Yeah.
the pursuit of that and how
Yeah.
important that is, because
Yep.
some people are like, I've spoken to some people who they don't know what that is yet. And they don't
Right.
want to feel bad for not knowing,
Right.
like they don't, but at the same time, if you don't have that passionate pursuit in life,
Yeah.
it's so easy to get stuck in that
Yeah.
depression or whatever.
Yep.
So like, what can you say to those people out there who's looking, who's searching,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, any
The
advice? What's your
yeah.
top five?
First question would be, what do you want? Like, what do you want? What do you actually, really, really want? Not what your mom says what you want, not what your partner says what you want, not what society says that you should want, not what your past self says that you want. What do you want? The number one question. Because from that, everything else falls in line. Passions fall in line, things fall in line. Because a passion, what's the purpose of it? Is if you know what you want, and let's say you want to achieve that, let's say it's a financial type of goal, then we have to be able to give some type of service to other people to get what we want. And probably the best way to be able to achieve massive success is to find some type of work or service that you like to do anyway, which you can consider a passion, right? So number one is know what you want clearly. Number two, ask people around you what you think are passions or what they think your passions are. Because when you're in the frame, you can't see the pictures the same. So ask them, ask your mom, ask your friends, ask the close ones that can keep it real with you. And you're probably going to find that they're going to be able to really make it apparent what it is you like to do. They're going to be like, James, you love talking to people. You're like, really? Huh? Like, yeah. Or it's like, Bev, you're a great listener. Really? Huh? Okay. See, our gifting, we can't see ourselves, which is the funniest thing. So
Mm-hmm.
get some affirmation from outside from a couple of trusted sources. And then from there, start doing it. Start doing it. And it doesn't matter how big, it doesn't matter how small, just do that. And a passion must be developed. It becomes, if a passion is a passion, you're going to see that it's going to become like a positive feedback loop. You're going to get so much joy from it. As you start doing it, kind of take an inventory and think to yourself, can I do this all the time? Like, for example, this is what a passion is not. A passion is when you're looking at your watch or your phone, you're like, when is this going to be over?
Mm-hmm.
A passion is when time is just gone, when you're in that flow state and you're just so, it's like you're speaking your life song right there. Then you're on a good way right there. And then I guess number five would be just double down on whatever it is that you figure out you're really good at. Go all the way with that and see where that leads you. There's a verse that says that your gift will make room for you.
Mm.
And every single person in this world is uniquely shaped and designed. Every single person in this world has been gifted certain giftings. Bev, you have something that I don't have. I have something you don't have. The listeners have something that we don't have. They're different. It might not look like what you think it's going to look like, but you do have a gift. And the greatest shame in the world is not realizing what that is and then not giving that to other people, because that's a
Mm.
fulfilled, passionate life.
Right. I like that you said, that it brings joy. Like, how do you define passion? How do you know you're passionate about something? One, you said like not, you know, looking at your watch,
Yeah.
but the joy, like a lot of people don't spend enough time seeking that. What excites me? What brings me joy inside?
Yep.
You get so lost in, I don't know, just being an autopilot, just doing your day-to-day routine,
Yep.
but it's once you feel that joy of what you're doing, it's so rewarding and it's addicting.
Oh, yeah.
You want to just
Exactly.
keep doing it. And
Yep.
I found that when I started this
Mm.
podcast,
Mm.
and which is why I keep doing it is because
Yep.
everybody I invite to be a guest on here just fills me with so much joy. So I'm just like,
Yeah,
I want to feel that again. So, I just go out there and
exactly.
find more people to talk to because it's very inspiring. And I just hope that, through the stories from you and, all the other guests on this show that, it can help really open up people's eyes to
Yeah.
what makes me joyful, what's my passion, what am I going to go after, because
Yeah.
it's worth it. You
Yep.
have to, life is too short to not have that joy all the time in life.
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%.
James, I want to share with my audience, what I've been experiencing with you. Like, just
Yeah.
your presence on social media is just very valuable. So can you share with the audience, your socials? Like, where can people
Yeah,
find you?
for sure. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those platforms. So Facebook is just James C. Zheng, Zheng. There's a lot of ANGs out there, some on the rare ENGs. You can find my Instagram is James C. Zheng, and TikTok I think is James C. Zheng as well too. So I'm
TikTok. I
there.
love your TikTok videos.
I'm still experimenting with it, but it's kind of it. I finally got one to go kind of viral a little bit, but viral for me at least. So it's just fascinating to see how you can connect with people, and that's where the younger generation hangs out now too. So
Yes.
it's cool.
So much fun to watch you on that. But also you have a podcast too.
I do. Yes, it's called the Warrior Movement Podcast. So we talk about everything: mindset, business, life, personal growth, all those types of things. We're 112 episodes in, I think. So I
Wow.
just put all types of stuff out there. It's not as well put together as yours is. I just kind of do it and put it on. But definitely lots of great content. All of it's my life work basically. So you
Yes.
can get to know me a lot more there.
Yes, you guys, please, subscribe to his podcast. It really can set your mind in motion to getting it done. You know what I mean? So thank you so much, James, for coming on the show. I really
Of
appreciate
course.
you. And I just look forward to, following you more on your life and your journey. And, just being associated with you is such a gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I can't wait. And thank you to all the listeners. You guys keep on tuning into this. Subscribe, share this with other people, guys. Bev has put something together in this podcast that is super rare. Passion, I think, is the best way to put it. So
Yes.
follow her and share this.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on Dark Horse Matters, the show about people, their passion, and pursuit toward happiness. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next week, be passionate.